So hi guys, good day. So today we will talk about marine environment. So what is marine environment? For me, marine environment is the habitats that support marine life, like oceans, seas, bays, and other major water bodies is part of marine environment. So we humans should protect our marine environment simply because the marine life is part of our food chain, in which it is our daily sources of food in our daily lives. And if we do not protect our marine environment, the marine life itself would be affected, in which the marine life is part of our food chain. If the marine life will be affected, and so the humans will be affected too. So it is just somehow harming ourselves. So instead of throwing our garbage in the marine environment, let us keep and preserve our marine environment clean and safe, for it will be not used just for now, but it will be useful into the next generation. So next, we're going to talk about the major source of marine pollution. So there are four major sources of marine pollution. First is the land-based, second is natural, the third is oil industry, and the last is the marine transportation. So the land-based, around 80% of marine pollution comes from land. It is because of the humans' responsibilities. Some humans just throw their garbage in any marine environment. They do not know that it would cause harm to marine life, in which marine life is part of our food chain, and it is just somehow harming ourselves too. So the second one is natural. So natural is, like for example, the pesticides, the herbicides, fertilizer, detergents, oil, and chemical industry will also cause harm to marine life. Then the third one is the oil industry. So oil comes from the word oil industry, so it talks about oil pollution. So it would also affect our corals. So our corals is part of the marine life. So the fourth one is marine transportation or marine transport. So the marine transport is, the example, the garbage of the ship or vessel that is sailing, or the sewage of the ship that is sailing, or there are only allowed situations that the cargo or the vessel will throw their sewage in the sea. So it would be tackled in the next topic that we would have. So remember, there are four major sources of marine pollution: the land-based, the natural, oil industry, and the marine transport. So our next topic would be the MARPOL Convention, its history, and the annexes under MARPOL Convention. So what is MARPOL Convention? So based on my own understanding towards my research, MARPOL Convention is for the prevention of pollution from ships. So it is the main international convention covering prevention of pollution of maritime industry environment by ships from operating and accidental causes. So its history is adopted on 2 November 1973 at International Maritime Organization. So the Protocol of 1978 was adopted in response to the spate of tanker accidents in 1976 to 1977. As the 1973 MARPOL Convention had not yet entered into force, the 1978 Convention had not yet entered into force. So the 1978 MARPOL Protocol absorbed the parent convention. The combined instrumented entered into force on 19 May 2005. So MARPO has been updated by amendments through years. So that is the history of MARPO Convention. So the next is the annexes that is under the MARPO Convention. So the first annex is the regulation for the prevention of pollution by oil. So this Annex 1 was entered into force on 2 October 1983. So this prevention covers the prevention of pollution by oil from operational measures as well as the accidental discharge. So the 1992 amendments to Annex 1 made it mandatory for new oil tankers to have a double hull and brought into a phase in schedule for existing tankers to fit double hull, which was subsequently revised in 2001 and 2003. So the next is Annex 2. So Annex 2 talks about the regulation of control of pollution by noxious liquid substance in bulk. So this Annex 2 was entered into force on 2 October 1983. So details the discharge criteria and measures for the control of pollution by noxious liquid substance carried in bulk. So some 250 substances were evaluated and included in the list appended to the convention. So the discharge of their residues is allowed only to reception facilities until certain concentrations and conditions, which vary or category of substance are complied with. Then Annex 3. So the Annex 3 talks about the prevention of pollution by harmful substances carried by the sea in package form. So this Annex 3 was entered into force on July 1, 1992. So contains general requirements for the issuing of detailed standard on packing, marking, labeling, documentation, stowage, quantity limitations, exception, and notification. For the purpose of Annex, harmful substance are those substances which are identified as marine pollutants in the International Maritime Dangerous Goods Code or the IMDG Code, or which meet the criteria in Appendix of Annex 3. Then Annex 4. So Annex 4 talks about the prevention of pollution by sewage from ships. So this Annex 4 was entered into force on 27 September 2003. So this annex contains the requirement to control pollution of the sea by sewage. The discharge of sewage into the sea is prohibited, except when the ship has in operation an approved system treatment, or when the ship is discharging comminuted and disinfect sewage using an approval using system at a distance more than 3 nautical miles from the nearest land. Sewage which is not comminuted or disinfected has to discharge at a distance of more than 12 nautical miles from the nearest land. So that's what Annex 4 talks about. So last is the Annex 6. Annex 6 talks about the prevention of air pollution from ships. So this Annex 6 was entered into force on 19 May 2005. So it sets limits on sulfur oxides and nitro oxides emission from ships, exhaust, and prohibits deliberate emission of ozone depleting substance. Designated emission control area sets more standard for SOx and NOx and particulate matter. A chapter adopted in 2011 covered mandatory technical and operational energy efficiency, measured, aimed, and reduced greenhouse emission from ships. So that's Annex 6 is all about. So that's it, guys. So I hope that you have remembered all the topics that we have talked about. So first is what is marine environment. So second is the major source of marine pollution and its impact to humans and to marine life. Then third is what is MARPOL Convention. Fourth is MARPOL history. And the fifth is the annexes that is under MARPOL Convention. So that's all, guys. Thank you for watching.